keep me grounded as I reach higher than the sea. Is there something there for me? Pulling back the reins, letting go again. I'm not afraid. I'm not.
Hey everyone, it's Skyee here, and today we are going to be finishing our page that we started in Mythical Maidens and Curious Creatures by Hannah Lynn. So this is part 5 of our color along. I am super excited. We are almost done. We literally only have 3 aspects to do, and then all of the finishing details, which I'm a little bit undecided on, but we'll start coloring and kind of go from there. Even though it doesn't seem like much, I can usually never, what's the word I'm looking for? I can never judge the time very well, like how long it's going to take. So we're just going to dive right on in. I'm not doing skin first, but I just want to organize these pencils. We're actually going to start with the tree first because we did this part last in the last part here, so I'm going to grab those colors first. It should be those guys there, I think. Okay, so we got espresso, chestnuts, burnt ochre, pumpkin orange, and eggshell. Excuse me. I don't know why, but my nose is a little bit tickly today, if that makes sense. Okay, let's zoom in and get started. Alright, so it's been a couple days since I actually recorded part 4, so I'm not really sure the order that I did this in. So it might end up looking a little bit different from the fallen kind of log down there, and I'm totally okay if it does look slightly different. We'll just blame it on this being a dead log and this being a live tree, right? So I'm just going to come in with the espresso, and I'm going to block in some shadows here. I think I want it fairly dark on the edges. I'm not going to burnish the edges though, but I'm just going to kind of go over it a little bit more to add some more color. And then I'm going to fade this out a ways. This top bit here, I'm going to try and color in on the edges as well as where it's poking out from under the leaves. We don't have quite as much room to work with here, so I'm just going to go along the edges with this. We're definitely not going to be able to fit all of the colors on these ones, but we'll try. I think my nose is actually a little bit agitated from wearing masks at work. Going 8 hours with a mask on is definitely has to have some side effects, I'm sure, and I think a runny nose is kind of one of them. Okay, we're going to go on the left side of this line here. So I imagine that this is kind of coming in from behind this one here a little bit. They kind of like overlap. Okay, so I'm bringing up the shadow kind of at an angle here, following kind of like the patterns that Hannah has drawn into the tree. So I'm just going to make sure to do that on both sides. It might just be easier to focus on one kind of outlined shape at a time. So if you find that easier, go ahead and do it that way. I definitely find it easier fading it out, that's for sure, because I find it's a lot easier to work in smaller areas than it is in larger areas. that side's good. Same thing here. I'm going to bring in the espresso underneath the leaves here to create a little bit of a shadow. I am going to have a little bit of a shadow here. I'm not going to go nearly as dark as I'm going to on this part here. So I'm just going to darken this up a little bit. So this side is definitely going to be darker. I'm just going to lightly go over here and then we can kind of darken it up as we go up. So I want to have shadow, but I don't want it to be crazy dark. Here, 1 second here. All right. Sorry, I just had to blow my nose. It's bugging me a little bit. Let's darken it up alongside the leaves here. Let's bring it out a little bit more on the side. I kind of want to try and match up these a little bit, so I'll kind of darken it and then fade it out farther. I think that's a little bit better. Okay. Let's come down to this side here. Now I'm not really sure what to do here. This part, I think I'm just gonna pretty much just color in with the espresso. Just make that dark there. I imagine that would be the tree. So let's just pretend that our tree is like this. I don't think we'd really see much of this color in this area here, so I'm actually gonna leave that. Pop a little bit on either side here. Okay, and then I think I'm actually gonna have to grab the black. I kind of forgot about this part. I'm gonna kind of pop the espresso just kind of all around in this area, I think. Let me grab my black. I'm not going to bother pulling the swatch card out for this, but I will have it in the materials used in this video. So using the black, let's come in on either side of this shape here. And then fade it out. Maybe bring it a little bit farther on this right side here, I think. Just so they're not completely even. Okay. That should be enough, and then I think we're going to finish that off with the espresso. So I'm just going to start with a medium kind of pressure and build that color up, gradually increasing on pressure until we're pretty much burnishing the entire area. There. And then we'll just continue with adding in our shadows here. Apologies if the lighting kind of shifts and whatnot. It is a little bit cloudy out today, so the sun is gonna hide and pop back out constantly. I wanted to get to this a little bit earlier, but I was running behind this morning. My mom took the little man for a couple nights. I've got 3 days off, and she stole him for pretty much all of them, but be kind of nice for Rain and I to spend some time together, which I'm excited for. But she's got his cousins right now because their mom is going to be having a baby brother here. Actually, probably today, if not tomorrow. She's really close. So my mom has the girls. And they're all really excited. That's all they talk about is their baby brother. Okay. I'm liking this for now. Let's go in with the chestnut next, I think. Actually, let's go with the burnt ochre first. No, chestnut. I really don't remember what way I did this last time. I mean, I could watch the video and look, but let's just swing it and see how close we can get it. Like I said, I don't really care if it's slightly different. So I'm just going to lightly go over with the chestnut and just bring it out a little ways. I'm gonna talk Rain into going to the city tomorrow. We've been kind of talking about it. He's on the fence. He doesn't want to spend money, which is funny because it'd be my money that would be spending. My money. It's technically both of ours, but I'm gonna talk him into getting a milkshake and maybe going for a walk there. But I want to check out Michael's for a couple things. I feel like it's been way too long since I've been in the art store, and it's finally open again now, so. Even if it's just window shopping, it's still nice to kind of get out and just do something normal. I need some normal with all this chaos going on and all these changes and stuff. Like, I don't mind them because, like, I'm an introvert and I was still working through everything, so it didn't really affect me a whole bunch. I was always, like, paranoid about possibly bringing it home, especially since Rain has asthma, but I was always very, very careful. But even though we're kind of all introverts except for Carbon, it's still not really fun to not be able to go and do things when you actually want to do them. I'm glad that things are kind of normaling out. I hope it continues that way. Thank goodness for coloring though, eh? I bet that was a lot of people's sanity throughout all that. pop a little bit of this color in here. Okay, we are still in frame. Switch to the burnt ochre and let's pop some of this in. And I think I'm just going to pop this over top of all the other color we have laid down. I'm going to try and keep it away from the highlight area though. I'm just using really messy big circles. I just want a little bit of this color in here because it'll orange it up a bit. Okay. Let's go back in with our espresso. I think we've got enough shadow in there that we can see where our highlights are, and now we can start kind of burnishing things a little bit. So I'm gonna sharpen that. And then we're gonna come in on the very edges and really darken those up. They're probably not completely burnished. I think I want to burnish it with the chestnut, not so much the dark umber, because we want that red color, otherwise it's going to blend in too much with her legs. But the very edge I do want quite a bit darker. Here, I think I'll pretty much just color in just the edge. Again, not really much room to do much here. Okay, really dark on this side. Much lighter on this side, at least until we get up to here, and then we can kind of darken it up again. Sure we're keeping our fade fairly gradual. Add a tiny little bit of the espresso in here, just along the bum. Yeah. Let's go in with the chestnut now. Same thing, I'm going to sharpen that one up. I'm pretty much just going to burnish the deepest shadows with this. So pretty much just where we have the darker areas of the espresso, and then I'm going to fade it out. And that should give our shadows a really red tinge to them. There we go. I don't know what happened there. I think this part may be a little bit longer than the other ones. This is taking definitely longer than I thought, which, like I said, it always does. But that's okay. Okay, so that's... I think we're going to come out with the burnt ochre. Kind of bring that out full strength from the chestnut. I'm gonna try and not go over the center area though. Just gonna slightly go over the faded out part of the chestnut. I'm gonna burnish from there, and then not really burnish, but we're going in like pretty much like full opacity from there, and then trying to at least create a little bit of a fade towards the highlights. just touch a little bit of it in here. Just gonna lightly go over everything. Okay, and because I'm impatient, we're gonna skip to the pumpkin orange. Let's lightly pop this over the highlights. Throw a little bit up here too. And then we're going to burnish the rest with the eggshell. Actually, let's come back in with the espresso quick. I want to do the same thing that we did on the log, so I think I'm just going to kind of go on the left of all these lines and just kind of go over them. It doesn't have to be the left, you can go on either side. Let's just kind of outline one side of the lines. And it definitely adds a lot of extra interest. You can tell the difference between this and this. It just looks a little bit more interesting. Adds a little bit more character. And the bark on trees definitely has a lot of character, so I think cartoon bark should still have a little bit of extra interest to it. I don't know if we need to fade out with anything else, but let's bring the chestnut in too, just to... So I'm just going to fade that out from the bark, or from the espresso, I mean. I'm being really messy and really quick with this because I don't want it to be perfect. Okay, so hopefully that'll be good enough. So now let's go in and finish burnishing with this. Definitely doesn't look exactly like the log down there. I think we used a lot more of the reds in that one. But I actually think I'm kind of liking that they look a little bit different. But they're the same colors, so they look similar enough. And then having them different actually adds more interest to the page too. Because if everything was the same, then it would be rather boring, don't you think? So we'll call that a happy accident. I think it's still red enough that it won't clash too much with the lighter part of the horse's body. Okay, so I think our next step down here is to go in with the burnt ochre. So again, we're going to kind of burnish our shadows with the burnt ochre, pretty much just the chestnut, and bring that out. Try and fade it out. I think down here we might as well just kind of color that in. It's not burnished because we still need to add the darker bits along the grooves, but we're definitely getting that color in there. We're going with the pumpkin orange. Lightly pop that in. And then we'll go through with our espresso and our chestnut again. Doesn't really matter which side, as long as it's there. The sun is playing games with us. And lastly, in with the eggshell. All right, and there we go. There is the tree done. Okay, so let's move on to the hill. Or I mean, you could do it as a mountain, but I kind of see it as a hill, so that's what I'm gonna do. So I picked out 4 colors for that. And I have no clue how I want to do this, so bear with me here. We're probably just gonna wing it. Okay, let's start by basing the entire area with the chartreuse. Doesn't have to be anything pretty. Just gonna really lightly scribble in some color here. All right. So it's coming with our darkest color, which is the dark green. And actually, I think we might add some black into this as well. So let's not quite burnish this yet, but let's put in a fair amount of color. I definitely don't want to make it the same. Straight across or anything. So we want some bits to come up higher than others. We definitely want it uneven, and we might even try and make it look like there's like grass in the foreground, and that might make it not look so blocky. Let's maybe bring it pretty high in here. Okay, let's leave it like that for now. Let's go in with our grass green, which is the next color. Just going in lightly again too, we're just kind of feeling it out here. I'm not committing to anything quite yet. I'm not even sure how much this is showing up on the camera here. Okay, and then our second last color, not counting, because our chartreuse is technically our last color, but we already have that down, so spring green. Just gonna bring this kind of up as well. But the entire top here, I definitely want to be the chartreuse because it's got the sun in behind it, so I feel like that's going to be our lightest area. Okay, it's not bad. Just coming with the black. Again, I don't have my swatch for this one, but I feel like we need it. And I think, you know, it's always good to try new things. Maybe not when you're like about to finish up a picture, but I always tell you guys not to be afraid to try new things. So I'd be hypocritical if I didn't, right? So let's do this. Okay, I'm gonna shadow in underneath this log here because I feel like it's kind of oddly placed. So I feel like it should be kind of shadowed. I want to create little grass spikes with the black. Some are going to be thicker, some are going to be thinner. It's going to be completely random. It might look like total crap, but hopefully not. it'll add in some interest at least, which is, I think we need it in this hill because it is just like one large blocky chunk of shape. So I feel like we need to give it some purpose. Okay, so I think that's probably good for the black. I don't want to go too crazy. We definitely want super sharp pencils for this. It looks good in my head. Hopefully we can make it look good on paper too. So I'm going to take the dark green and I'm going to burnish this. And I'm going to go, not circles for once, I'm going to go up and down motion, kind of following the way that I just put the grass in. So that way our black kind of stays put, but we turn it into like a really dark green instead of the black. Okay, and then we get to where the tips of the grass is. It's kind of fade out, I think. So I should jump over to here. And then we're going to do the same thing with this green. It's completely random. Make some of them a little bit thicker, more noticeable. But we'll keep the majority of them just really thin and wispy, and I think that'll kind of help with the look. And I think we're gonna stop that with the dark green, so let's just make sure they're really defined. So some are really soft, they kind of look like they're in the background, and then I'm gonna go in with a really hard pressure and bring some kind of forward. And I'd say that is actually looking pretty good, fingers crossed. It continues that way. This is going to be tricky because I kind of want the grass to come up as well, but we've got the horse's belly in the way. So let's start off light at first and see what we can do here. And then we'll go in kind of more firm. Any that we want to kind of go past the horse's belly, we're just going to go reverse grass. Hopefully it works, or we can just kind of slow down our flicking motions. We'll have to try and still keep them random, but okay, I really like this. Now, of course, not everything new you try will turn out good, so it's probably always best to try it out on paper first, like a scrap sheet of paper, but I tend to be impatient and I always skip that part. Let's keep that side like that. Oh, guys, I'm so excited. Okay. So we're gonna go in with the spring green. I don't think I want to go over the dark green at all. So I want to leave that as much as possible. Oh no, looks like my neighbor's van crapped out. They got the tow truck out there. It's a really tricky street for this too. Our street's really narrow. Poor tow truck guy. I would be like, pretty much like shit in my pants. Okay, so I'm gonna try to, actually, no, let's go over the dark green because it makes it this really pretty green tone. I kind of like that. So again, same thing, kind of just doing the up and down motion because I don't want to go side to side, otherwise that's going to kind of smudge them from side to side and it's going to make them look blurry, and I want them to stay kind of sharp. So I've got a really sharp pencil here. I go in along the bottom first and then just bring it up. So I'm going to bring this up and fade it out, leaving about, I don't know, I'm terrible at measurements, but I would say, no, I need a ruler. Okay. Let's go millimeters. Not that it like really, that's centimeters, but no, that's millimeters. Okay. I'd say like half a centimeter. From the top, and it doesn't have to be half a centimeter like all the way. Like it's gonna be like half a centimeter from here, and then it's gonna be more here because our sun is here. So I feel like the light is going to be coming down a little bit further on the hill, like immediately around it, if that makes sense. Wish the sun would come back out. I'm going to use little dark circle-y patterns in the grass here. Actually, you know what, let's completely color in on this side here and then fade it out as it gets to the top. And then I think we're gonna do the same thing here. We're gonna keep it so just where the sun is gonna be lighter, and I think that's gonna give us a really cool effect. And same thing down here, we're just going to use a vertical method to keep the pointiness, or sharpness if you'd rather, of the grass. So I definitely think this was worth the risk. It It was fairly simple. I kept it, I think, fairly simple. Hopefully it was easy for you guys to kind of follow and, you know, have fun and play around with. It was fun to do. Let's bring this down a little bit more too here. But it added so much interest. So if we'd have just colored it as like a gradient, I think it would have been lacking. The picture would have been missing something. Oops, got a little bit of dark green on my pencil there. I'm gonna get rid of that. Okay, and then this one too, we're just gonna bring it right up to the top. This up just a little bit further. Yeah, I like that. And then we're gonna go in with the chartreuse. Yeah, 1 sec. Okay. I had to turn my light on. The clouds, I think, are getting worse. So let's finish this up. So we're already almost at an hour and we still haven't even done her skin yet. So this will probably be like an hour and a half, maybe even longer. Hopefully not. Okay, so we're just gonna go in with the chartreuse here. Okay, I'm gonna blend that in to our spring green quite a bit. And then I think I'm actually going to erase some of this. Sorry guys, just grab a random generic eraser if you want. Just taking a tiny little bit off the top just to create like a really dramatic shadow there. But I am just going to lightly work back into it and just fade it out so it's not quite so dramatic, but still noticeable. There we go. Actually, let's this color is not going to be, like, I don't have a swatch for this one either, but it'll be in the materials used. I'm gonna put cream on this, I think. So let's just go in with the cream and we'll color that erased part in. That way it kind of matches the sun. I like that a lot better. Alright, come on. We got a Miss Lilo in the room. Alright, so I think that is it for the hill. Just throw those colors in and then we'll do her skin quick. Try not to go too quick. Excuse me. Make sure we got all of that pencil dust out of there because we do not want that smudging into her skin. Alright. I'm just going to do the same generic skin I do on all my girls. Starting with the Parma Violet. So we're just going to kind of accentuate some of the shapes here and her shadows and whatnot. And her skin is a little bit of a kind of a test thing too. We're going to add some really dramatic shadows in on her. And I'm hoping it works out good. So basically I'm going to shadow all the way around her face. The shadow's going to be a little bit more on this side, a little bit less on this side. A little bit under her lip if we can, under her nose. I'm going to create a nose for her. You don't have to if you don't want to make a nose, just skip this part. Give her kind of a pointed nose, kind of princessy. Okay, and behind this line would be a shadow. Pretty much just going to outline everything, to be honest. Definitely got to add in some cleavage, of course. Make her look more woman. Not that really boobs make a woman, but it definitely makes the cartoon girls look a little bit more grown up. Because otherwise they tend to look a little bit young. Lilo, are you okay? Okay, let's make this shadow back here a little bit darker, so we'll kind of color that in completely. Shadow in her ear would be darker. Shadow on her neck would be a little bit darker. I'm not burnishing at all, I'm just adding a little bit extra color to our really shadowed areas. I've already got a fair bit of shadow here, so that one's good. Okay. So our next color is the nectar. Lightly bring this in. Just over top of all those areas we put in the Parma Violet. A little bit more concentrated on the edges, still not burnishing at all though. And then we'll fade it out right about like the same. Same amount, I guess. I'm just bringing it as far as we brought the Parma Violet, no further. Something so relaxing and scary about coloring skin. Sorry, I'm like really quiet. I don't know why, but coloring skin just puts me in like a trance. I don't know if it's because I do kind of find it relaxing, or if I like just don't breathe because I'm scared of messing up and I have to like really concentrate. Might be a little bit of both. Let's put a little bit of a shadow on the left side of her nose here, just a little one. Okay, I think I'm liking this so far. It's a little bit too dark for my liking though, so we're definitely not going to add to the shadows too much. So let's go in with our peach. Just gonna bring this over top and out just slightly. We'll have mostly light peach to hopefully lighten this up quite a bit. So this part of our arm is pretty much going to be completely in shadow, so I'm just going to lightly go over all of that with the peach, but we'll lighten it up with the light peach. Same with this part of our arm here, and then this one we'll try and save as much of a highlight as we can. And then her face, we definitely don't want to add too much of this. You can go on her eyelid pretty much completely with that. And by completely, I mean don't burnish it, but we can color the entire thing in lightly with this color. I'm going to create a little line to suggest part of her nose here and just blend that out lightly. Got a little tiny spot here. I don't know what it is, but we're going to make that a mole because I think it looks kind of cute anyways. Okay, so now with that done, I'm going to do something crazy. Okay, I said we're not going to darken up the shadows, and we're not, but we are going to make them more dramatic by darkening them up, if that makes sense. We're going to darken them up, but not at the same time. I'm just going to lightly go in with the dark purple, just on the very edge of these shadows. I'm going to make it very purple, just because we're still going to burnish with our skin color, so that should kind of take out the purple a little bit. Hopefully. Don't know, kind of winging it. I'm not going to make it quite so dark here just because her, I don't know, I feel like that shoulder should be light. I'm not sure why. I'll just do. She looks so pretty. Okay. She looks out a little bit underneath her necklace here. And underneath her hand. There. Like that. Okay, next we have blush. So start on this side and with the mulberry. I'm going to use kind of a medium pressure because I want her blush to show up a little bit. So light medium pressure. We're just going to bring it out kind of to there a little bit. And then on this side of her cheek, we're not going to bring it out nearly as far because most of her cheek here is hidden. So maybe about that much. Okay, and then we'll go in with the hot pink. And this, we're just going to bring it out slightly. This is more of like a transition color, so that way her blush fades into her skin a little bit easier. Okay, and then we are on to burnishing, which we're going to do very carefully. With a sharp pencil and small circles. So starting with the peach, this is going to be just for the shadows and out a little bit. So we're going to try and keep as many highlights as we can. So little small circles. Don't start burnishing right away, like don't start with a super hard pressure. Start with kind of a medium pressure, start going over it, and then build up on that pressure as you go, and that'll help kind of blend everything in together, because if you go in with like a really firm pressure straight off, you're going to lock those colors into the page, and if they're not completely blended, it might end up looking streaky, and you don't want that. You kind of want to be able to move and push those colors around a little bit, that way they blend into each other. Okay, so with this one, I'm just gonna go over the shadows, I think. And then our highlights will actually be white, so they'll be fairly lighter. And then the light peach will be our mid-tone. This bottom part here, I'm just going to color in with the peach. There's really not much room to do much else with that. I know it looks kind of funny now, but I think it should even out once we finish everything. And I'm not even completely burnishing it. We could probably still go over it again. At least one more time, which we might want to with the white. I'm not sure yet. Okay, definitely don't want to go too crazy on her face. Her neck we can pretty much just color in. It's kind of an odd angle, it's hard to get in there. Okay, so I think that's probably good enough with the peach. So let's go in with the light peach, which again we're going to sharpen up. So we're going to blend this out from the peach. And then we're just going to lightly go over the highlight to give it a pink tone. But we are going to go over it with the white. And then I think the shadows will just go over with the light peach and completely burnish, because that should make them light enough that they don't really look funny. this area here, I'm just going to completely burnish with the light peach. Don't really want to lighten that part up. This area in here kind of turned into a little bit of a mess. So I'm going to erase part of that here and see if I can fix it. Cleavage is tricky. Okay. That looks a little bit better. I think I just put in too much shadow there. It's kind of like a small area, so it's kind of like a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing. We'll just quickly go back in with the dark purple and just repop in that shape there. So our highlights on her face are going to be kind of like her cheek area here and here, and then kind of like her forehead area here. So we're not going to burnish any of that in. We're just going to lightly fill it in with the light peach. Oh, and then also kind of like the tip of her nose here. But we're still going to go over the shadows and kind of fade those out into the highlights. So that lightened up her skin quite a bit there. Her ear, I'm just going to fully color in. Okay, and then lastly, coming in with our white, make sure it's clean. It's got a little bit of purple on it, so I'm going to clean that off. I'm going to start with the arms here. And even though everything, like the shadows are fairly burnished at this point, I'm still just going to try to pop a little bit of white over them if I can. If it'll take it, good. If not, we tried, right? Alright, and there's her skin done. So now in with the final touches. So the first thing I'm going to do, well, the first two things I'm going to do is lips and eyes. So we'll start with the eyes. I'm just going to go in with a black fine liner. I'm just going to go over the black lines that Hannah has here to kind of act as makeup. I'll do her eyelashes too, but I find that this side it's easier to do the eyelashes upside down. Definitely got to make sure that you're comfortable with your angle because it's already really tedious as it is. Just going to try to darken up the eyelashes Hannah already has in there. Okay, so now her eyes are back out. I'm going to do the same thing with her lips. Actually, I don't really like this red pen for that. I want a purple one. It might seem strange, but I think the purple will complement the red a little bit better, and it's going to be a little bit darker too. So I'm just going to mimic the lip shape that Hannah has in here. And then I'm going to use a brown pen too, just to kind of add in that freckle, which I'm going to kind of like dab it out just slightly to lighten it up. It's just a very light freckle. Yeah. Okay, so it's a good start. While we're waiting for that to dry, let's go in with some white details. I've been playing around with the idea of glittering up the gold. I don't know if I want to though. This pen really does not want to work lately. Let's try the other one. Yeah, that one's better. Like that. Let's add some little sparkles in near the flowers. And then just some highlights along the lighter areas of them. We'll add one pretty much along the whole length of the spear. Sorry, I gotta turn my page a little bit here to avoid putting my hand in Posca pen. Even put like a sparkle on the tip. I'm going to switch to my Sigma pen because these Posca pens just are not doing it for me. I don't know why. They're just not white. They're like acrylic paint watered down kind of color. I don't like that. This one's not working on me. Nothing's working today. Jelly roll pen? Will that one work? Let's see. Oh, definitely not. Why would it? You know what? Oh, that one's way too big. Let's, 1 second. very much regret this, but we're gonna try it because I'm getting a little bit irritated. Alright. I took one of the chalk markers that I got from Chalk Quality Review a little bit ago there. Switched it to the chisel nib. So that way I can get a smaller line. Let's just very carefully use this one. And it's completely opaque. Completely. I would buy these just for this. I wonder if they've got thinner ones though. Forgot about that one. Let's add some little dots around these as well. Just a couple of random dots throughout her tail here. Gonna have a sparkly horsetail. I like that. I don't know about doing that to her hair though. I think I want to leave her tail a little bit different than her hair maybe. Yeah. Still on the fence about the glitter. I know I do want to glitter up. It wants to work. Come on. The actual flowers. Bear with me here, these ones really don't like to pop glitter out. You know what, since I'm so on the fence about it, we're gonna do it, or at least I am. You guys don't have to. There we go. Sorry, you can't really see some of that, but I put glitter on all of the gold aspects. And then I'm just going to take a Q-tip and spread them around just so it's not all in one spot. Be cool to do some like glittery rays in the background. Wonder if we can do that maybe. a little crazy, but I kind of like it. Okay, that actually looks kind of cool. Now I'm just going to use the other side of the Q-tip for these other flowers here. Spread around that color. Doesn't really matter what color you use or what type of glitter you use. You could use nail polish, you could use whatever you have. It does not have to be stickles, because I know they're kind of hard to commandeer. I know, especially here in Canada, they're really hard to find. All right. And then with all that, I think she's done. I gotta say, our chalk marker did actually kind of dry, but I wonder if it left enough of a base that we could put our Posca back in on. Just didn't dry as white as I wanted it to. Might be time to get new Poscas, I think. These ones are almost dried up. All right, so let's zoom out. So that is what we got. I think she turned out absolutely awesome. There we can see kind of the glitter in the background. It's really subtle. I really like that. I'll probably scratch a little bit of this stuff off because it went in a little bit more there than I wanted, but other than that, I think she looks great. So she definitely does look more kind of pixelated almost on my camera. It's showing like every tiny little white dot of the paper, which is crazy. It does not look like that in person. You guys will see on the little image at the end what it actually looks like. And yeah, so I think that's everything. Nope, I lied. I just noticed I actually need a little bit more gold here. Don't know if you guys caught on to that, but if we're trying to make our little rays perfect, then we kind of missed a little bit here, so they need to move up more. That's one thing I like about the stickles, is you can kind of move them around and stuff, which is awesome. So that one goes there. I think that's pretty good. Let's put one kind of like right there. I touched it. It's another thing about stickles, is they're very messy. There. Okay, I like that a lot better. Let's see if we can move some of this around. Not bad. Okay, now we are done. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. I know I definitely had a blast coloring her. I'm super excited that she's done, and she definitely turned out pretty close to what I pictured, so I am actually really happy. If I had to critique one thing on this though, it would be this part of the sky here. I think I should have just kept the oranges maybe, or maybe just the purple and no black. I'm not sure. I think it's just because this spot is so little, it almost looks out of place. But technically the whole sky up there would be like that. So I like it and I don't at the same time, if you know what I mean. Hopefully you guys learned something from this tutorial. I always aim to kind of teach you guys new things, and hopefully you're not afraid to try out new things on your own as well. It can definitely turn out amazing, as you can tell by our grass, which actually might be my new favorite part of this picture. All right, guys. So as always, hope you enjoyed, and take care. I'll see you next time. All right, bye.